Welcome to Mike Brown Barbecue. Today we're going to make hot honey butter Texas style spare ribs on this 250-gallon offset smoker. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so as you can see, that's a bunch of leftover coals that I've saved up over the past couple of cooks. Stated in previous videos, I like to do that. So we'll start out with the base for our coal bed. Nothing special, not what I'm burning, just a bunch of dry wood that's getting old on me that I need to, that I need to burn before it starts rotting. It's good for burning down coal beds. You can see right here in the middle, I got a piece. Didn't quite burn up last time. It actually fell out rolled off the top of the fire. So that'll be in the middle. And then what I'm going to do between this layer and that layer, I got a bunch of greasy butcher paper left over some briskets I did last weekend. Put that right there on top, in between these logs. And that will help catch all this stuff pretty good too. Especially if you ain't got a propane torch like I'm fixing to use, because that's just too easy for me. We'll get this lit up, burn this down a coal bed. Just like that, we got us a little fire started. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so what I got here is some premium Swift spare ribs that I picked up at my local grocery store. It's the cheapest rib you can get right now. If you get full spares, it's cheaper than getting St. Louis cut or even baby backs. Baby backs have done got unbelievably high. But we're gonna get these opened up. So let's see what we got here, and automatically I can see right off of Jump Street. There's a bone. Got this belly meat right here. All that. It's fixing to come off. That's what that's gonna do. It's getting hot. And it's just gonna curl up. It's gonna suck for presentation purposes. So we'll get rid of that. Trim just a little bit of that fat off. Not a whole lot. Some silver skin right there. Take it off. So next we'll start by cutting the breastbone out here. What I call it. Maybe somebody calls it something else. That bone runs right in there. Start your knife right there. And then come straight across. Just like that. Next I have to start sharpening my knives. These son of a guns are getting dull. What I like to do with that, throw it on a pit for a little extra snack. Alright, so what we got to do next, give them a little shape. And I can see already with these ribs, this meat right here is already too thin, so that's coming off. Just like that. Come down here, find that last bone, and we'll square the end off. Just like that. So we got that end squared off. There's that bone. Give it a little bit, somewhat shape. Kind of round things off a little bit. That would help if these ribs were really cold. It's my fault for not putting them in the freezer sooner. What I also like to do is come down here on this end, and you can see that ain't got no meat on it at all. So I normally go one bone, but it looks like I'm gonna have to go two bones with that. You can see how thin that meat was on there. That ain't worth a flip. This ain't the best rack of ribs I ever got, I can tell you that. But I don't know, here lately, the choice on meats at the grocery store hasn't been worth the flip. So I've been making do with what I can get. And now when you flip these ribs over on this side, you can see that right there. That ain't worth a darn, so I'm going to have to actually trim that off even more. These are actually going to be some screwed up looking little ribs when I get done with them. I will save some of this stuff for sausage, but that's about all I'm going to do to it. Heck, it's still a spare rib, but barely. So we'll flip it over on the back, just flap off right here. Always take it off because it will burn. Alright, that's the best I can do with them, so that's what they look like. They're still spare ribs, but barely. We'll flip back around to this side. We'll go ahead and get these seasoned up. I don't pat my ribs dry. I don't do none of that. I let that moisture help that pepper stick. Start out 16 mesh black pepper. Y'all know what I like to use. This generous coat. Hit it with a little bit of kosher salt. Just a little bit. And then my go-to season all salt, Bondler's Fiesta. Just like that. I like to run back up and down the meat twice. Give that a pat. And we'll flip it over to our presentation side. Hit it with some pepper. Hit it with some kosher salt again. Give that a little pat. Pack that kosher salt down in there. And we'll hit it with the Bondler's Fiesta once more. I'll go a little bit heavier on this side with that. I'll just slow down while I'm going back and forth. And off camera, I've been experimenting with other rubs, trying name brand stuff, and I just keep coming back to this setup right here, man. It's just too good. You can't pass it up. Alright, so we got our ribs seasoned up for our hot honey ribs. Next thing we'll do when that coal bed finishes burning down is throw these on the smoker. Stay tuned. Alright, folks, it's time to throw these ribs on. Our coal bed's burnt down. You can see those are looking real nice. We'll put them right here in the middle, scrunch them up, big bones facing toward the firebox. I won't open up this lid for about 3 hours. I like to let my spare ribs go for 3 hours before I open it back up and check on them again. Because they're a thicker piece of meat, they're bigger, and they just take some time. So that seasoning set there for about 45 minutes, everything adhered. Got it on the pit. Let's go put our wood on and get started. Stay tuned. Alright folks, it's time to put our base on for our rib smoke, hot honey rib smoke. So let's open it up. As you can see, those are gone. It's time to smash all this down. The pieces that ain't quite burnt down yet, I like to roll them over in the middle and bury them down in there, just like this. We got that's a big old screaming hot coal bed. Clean the front out and move it up just a tad. We're gonna go on with our next setup. What I got right here, just thick, dense log. I run my rib cooks pretty dirty. So I put wood on, because it's a thin piece of meat. It don't take in smoke very long. So I put these thick pieces of logs on, get more burn time out of them. I can get about 2 hours out of this setup. I cracked that firebox door like I want it. And especially with the summertime heat being the way that it is, I can get by with that. Did a brisket cook last weekend. Now I got 2.5 hours out of one setup. I was pretty shocked by it. As you can see, take off. We'll crack that lid down to about 1 inch. I let my 250 gallon do its thing, and it'll throw that dirty smoke up on them ribs and give it a good flavor. And them ribs won't soak up much smoke. Thin piece of meat, it won't do it for long. So I run a dirtier fire on my short cooks. You can see coming up there out of that smokestack, that's what I want. I want some of that white smoke. It's not a dirty smoke, but it's a good smoke to start out, throw on your ribs. So our fire is taking off. I'm gonna go ahead and close this down. I'll bring you guys back. Probably here in about 2 hours we'll manage this fire. Stay tuned. Alright guys, I just wanted to bring you in what I'm making here. I'm making a homemade hot honey. What this is right here is 1 jar of local honey. This is what I use in Southeast Texas. 22.5 ounces. Put it right up here on low heat. And then you add about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to that. And you just keep stirring on it and bring it to a slight simmer. Once it hits a slight simmer, you just turn it off and let it cool, and those red chili flakes will infuse in there, and that'll give you hot honey for people that can't find hot honey. You look up real close, you can see some little bubbles right on the edge right there starting to come up, which means it's getting to a simmer. So what I'll do next is take this, put it in this jar right here, strain it in there, strain the red pepper flake, or you can leave the red pepper flake in there if you want. But so I just wanted to bring you guys in and show y'all that you can make your own hot honey at home instead of buying it from local stores. Stay tuned. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you what the next step is with my hot honey that I was making. I didn't do exact measurements on that. I know it was a 22-ounce jar of honey, roughly about maybe half a cup of red pepper flakes and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. The recipe that I found online, I'll post it down in the description. You guys can make your own. For some reason they don't have it around here, but I've been hearing about it and I think it would go good on some ribs, so we're gonna try it. I let that simmer, then I let it cool off so the red pepper flake can fuse into the honey. Then I heated it back up a little bit to make it back runny again. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna dump it in the strainer and get our honey out. And not our red pepper flake. Make it for better presentation. I guess if you wanted to, you could leave that in there, but I don't need to. Hot honey, made out of red pepper flakes, local honey, and apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna go ahead and take me a little taste of it, see what we got. Oh man, that's good. And the heat doesn't hit you up front, but when it hits the back of your throat, it kicks the crap out of you. But man, that's pretty good stuff. I'm gonna buy it if I can make it that good. So there you have it, folks. Hot pepper honey. So after doing a little bit of research, just want to throw this in there. The hot honey will last you 3 to 4 months roughly at room temperature. No need to refrigerate it. So keep that in mind when you make some. If you want to make a little batch or a small batch, just calculate the ingredients how you want it. But got the hot honey made. I got a feeling we're gonna need to manage the fire here in a minute. So just want to bring you guys in and show you that. Alright guys, it's time to manage this fire. We're dropping off our target temp 275. As you can see, everything's just about burnt down. Time to smash these down in there. Alright, I got that coal bed smashed down. I'm going to do the same thing with this one as I did last time. We're going to put dense logs on here to get a lot of burn time. Bury them down in there a little bit. We'll put dense logs on top. Two of them. See that one there? I got roughly I got 2 hours and 10 minutes burn time out of that last setup. So we got that fire managed. Here in about an hour, we'll open the lid up and see what our ribs look like. Stay tuned. I want to bring you guys in for a temperature update. This is about roughly 5 minutes after we just managed that fire. This is what I've been holding at steady today, about 285, 290. That's where this fire's wanted to run at, so I let it go. My guideline's always 275, but today I'm gonna let it run right here where it's at and let it ride. There ain't nothing wrong with that as long as you stay consistent in keeping that temperature. You can see up there, I've got some decent smoke coming out. It's clean smoke, a little bit dense, but not bad. Walk back here to the firebox. That is as far as I've got this firebox cracked open, about 3/4 of an inch. All I need out here in this heat, out in the sun, and I run a real clean, decent fire. Got some good smoke coming out of there, and we're about 2.5 hours into this cook. So here in about 30 minutes, we'll take a look at these ribs. I just want to bring you guys in and show you how I'm doing this. All right, stay folks. Tuned. So we're at the 3-hour mark. Actually a little bit past it. We're at a temp of about 280-ish. So let's see what we got. As you can see, those are looking nice. I'm gonna put them back in there. I'm gonna rotate them on this side and let this thick side catch some heat. They got a little bit of a darker color, but that's fine. I like my ribs with some bark. So I'm gonna probably let these go about another hour, and then we're gonna wrap them up in tin foil with some spicy barbecue sauce and our hot honey. Stay tuned. All right, folks. So it is now time for us to wrap our ribs for about the 4.5 hour mark. So first thing we're gonna do is put down some butter on this tin foil. I stated earlier that I was gonna put barbecue sauce on the wrap, but I am not gonna go that route. I'm just gonna do the hot honey and the butter. Hot honey right here. We'll put a generous amount of that on there. I want that to really come through. Just like that. And then we'll go on with the ribs. You can see these ribs are looking great, and how you can tell ribs are ready to wrap is when they start cracking right here across the top. But they are beautiful, got good bark on them, nothing's burnt. They look good. So we'll flip around over here to this side, and then we'll repeat the process on the back side of the ribs. We'll go with some butter. And some hot honey. Generous amount. Just like that. And on the back, I like to rub everything in just a little bit. But that bark's good and set. It's a lot of liquid, but you're not going to wash your bark off. So we want to wrap these up pretty tight. So what I like to do on ribs, fold each end up, especially on a small rack like this, and roll that up real tight like. Same thing for this side right here. And be careful not to poke no holes in your tin foil. Alright, that's wrapped up nice and tight. Let that ride for about an hour and we'll check it again. Let's go back on the pit. Alright folks, this will be the last time we manage to fire for the ribs. I got 2.5 hours of burn time out of that. We just wrapped our ribs about 20 minutes ago, so this will be it for them. That one's still got a little bit of life left in it. We'll just bury them down in there. Clean the front of this coal bed out. And we're going to move this coal bed up a little bit. Alright, so what I'm going to do next to finish the ribs out is put big, thick, dense pieces on. Carry us over and run a little bit hot of a fire. And that'll be it. Same thing on top, big, thick, dense pieces. Alright, that'll carry us for the rest of the rib cook. Y'all stay tuned. Next time you see the ribs, when we wrap, we get ready to slice them. Alright folks, it's time to check our hot honey ribs. I got a feeling these are done. So a lot of times what'll happen is your very end bone right there, sometimes will pop out. It ain't no big deal. It'd be like that sometimes. So there you have it, folks. That's what they look like. And judging by how bendy these ribs are, just like that, they are done. They got good pullback on the bones. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and wrap these back up, the meat side up, and these are going to rest in my oven until I get ready to slice them. I'll be here in a little while. So I'll bring you guys back then. Here's the final product on our ribs. That dark bark, it's got a nice shiny glaze to it. These right here are Texas style hot honey butter ribs. We're fixing to slice into these. Stay tuned. Alright folks, so we're getting ready to slice these, and look at how pretty those ribs are. They are beautiful. And they're nice and floppy, which means they done. When your ribs have been without breaking, that's where you want them at. So it's time to slice into these. If I get all the way through this without hitting the bone, that'll be the very first time that I've ever done that. And I did. Look how lucky I am. So there we go. We'll start with this dude here. And you can see, nice smoke ring. Look at the juice pouring out of that. Oh God, that is going to be some good eating there. Let's give it a taste. Came clean off the bone without hardly no resistance. You get the honey butter, the sweetness. You get the smoke, the pepper, the seasoning, and then at the end of it, it's not overpoweringly hot, but at the end of your chew, you start getting the heat from the hot honey butter. It's a very good rib. I'm very impressed by these. Let's pull this one from the middle. And you can see how that one turned out. Look how juicy these ribs are. People take it for granted, but when you pull some ribs off, give yourself a few hours of rest time in the oven at 170. Open your ribs up, make sure they're not cooking no more, and let them rest for a few hours at 170. Then pull them out and let them cool off. and you'll get a juicy rib every time. I mean, look how juicy that is. We're gonna take a bite right out of the middle so I can show y'all how good these are cooked. Nice clean bite right out of the middle. Perfectly cooked rib, not overcooked, but not undercooked. Got just a little bit of tug. That's perfect the way I like my ribs. We went 4.5 hours unwrapped, and then probably about an hour, maybe a little bit past it, wrapped in foil with the hot honey, with a little bit of butter. And I debated on putting sauce, and now I'm glad I didn't put no barbecue sauce in it, because it don't need no sauce. It's awesome. I highly encourage y'all to make your own hot honey and try this out, man, because you're missing out. This is awesome. That's perfectly cooked rib. These are some of the best cooked ribs I've done in a while. Alright guys, if you like this video, please subscribe. And hot honey butter ribs, Texas style, what we had. Thanks for watching. Peace out.